Islamophobia is intensifying. Let's be clear, Islamophobia is not about identity, it's not about culture, it's about racism.
The level of exploitation, let alone corruption, in China is unbelievable. Yes, of course you have a one-party state, but you also have a complete neoliberal economy.
Media can't influence, but I think that's okay if you have the ability and the capacity to deconstruct it and critique it. But if you're a young child,
you cannot have a strike or an occupation in just one university and hope that you can change the whole of the education system in Britain.
Some of it's just plain vindictive. It can't be about saving money.
And I think so far it's been a fantastic event. We've had, I think, 5,000 plus people come down to Marxism from all corners of the earth.
So I think the problem in Africa is poor ethical leadership. We have our own people who are replacing the colonial masters, but they're still replicating their way of doing things. That is why a country like Zimbabwe still have the old laws which were used by the settler regime, still being used by Mugabe. It's not only Zimbabwe, it's happening in other African countries as well.
Because the collapse of the Soviet Union, the decline of the Communist parties that look to it, give us the opportunity now, for the first time in almost a century, to have an anti-capitalist movement that isn't dominated by a vision of state capitalism as the alternative to capitalism.
But you can tell us what to cut, didn't they? Now what they want to do is they want us to fight amongst each other, don't they? Cut his benefit, not my job. That person's a malingerer. Take it away from them, not me, or not my family. They want us to fight amongst ourselves, don't they? Well, maybe we shouldn't do that. I don't think we should. But I think we should offer them a few suggestions of what to cut to save the money, don't you? Where should we start? Don't try and pull the troops out of Afghanistan.
What's happening now is no radical changes are made. All people say is we will introduce good governance, we will introduce anti-corruption. But if you don't get rid of the corrupting influence, which is capitalism itself, you won't actually be able to get rid of this.
It's the evening time now. I think we've just had a day full of different discussions. I was just at a meeting on how to stop the EDL.
In Greece, striking teachers stormed the television station and broadcast their point about pension reform on national television. They wouldn't leave the television station until they were allowed to make the broadcast. Inside the media too, a confident workforce can struggle with management over the content they put out. So media's power is constrained by the level of class struggle in society.
What we are doing today at Marxism in London in 2010 are working to develop those ideas.
That if you are in an occupation or if you are in a strike, you can feel that you have to control democratically every moment of that strike. You cannot allow a small bureaucracy, a small set of trade union leaders, a small set of students leaders to control your strike, because your own future is threatened the moment you give that control away.
Such a wonderful opportunity to meet people, have everyone together who are interested in changing the world and, you know, have a vision of a different world free of, you know, things like inequality, hunger, racism and that sort of thing.
The South African working class, we must remind ourselves, was absolutely and fundamentally central to the defeat of apartheid. This is the regime, don't forget, that was armed with nuclear weapons, was armed to the teeth, was completely authoritarian and backed by every major Western power. Yet the black South African working class brought it to its knees and defeated it.
Malcolm saw the struggle moving beyond the civil rights movement. It no longer should be about simply trying to get legislation passed. It had to be about challenging the wider marginalisation and brutality.
And the history of the working class in Nigeria recently, I think, is very, very inspiring. In 2008, when there was the last general strike,
Look on. The Queen. Now, she's had her budget frozen. Did you hear that? Yeah, I know it's shocking really, isn't it, who they attack? I mean, she only gets 40 million a year from the taxpayer. Now, I mean, if I got 40 million a year from the taxpayer, wage freeze wouldn't bother me at all. But she is doing her best to cut corners, and really we could all learn lessons from her. Because for instance, in the long corridors of the palace, she's asked the servants to walk along the edges of the carpet. Because this saves on the wear and tear along the middle.
Just use your imagination.